Hello, good morning and welcome to yet another edition of Health Update on the African television. We're pleased to count you amongst our viewers. Health Update is your weekly bilingual program which talks about all issues pertaining to health without any discrimination. And on today's edition, ladies and gents, we will be talking about how life skills could help young people in order to avoid some problems or sexual reproductive problems such as abortions, STDs, but also HIV and AIDS. But before we do so, let's meet Francois Kevin Jega right behind. He has the health news that marks the week.
Les chiffres sont alarmants. Seulement 7 millions de Camerounais sont vaccinés en tout type de vaccin. Des chiffres insuffisants qui peuvent s'expliquer par la crainte des effets secondaires, des doutes sur la gravité de la maladie, qui créent la peur vis-à-vis de la vaccination. Les habitants ne se bousculent pas pour recevoir le vaccin ou faire vacciner leurs enfants. Pourtant, la vaccination permettrait de sauver des vies.
Parfois, on vaccine l'enfant, après, il y a toujours les choses, les conséquences. Mais les trucs qu'on vient avec chez les Blancs, là, parfois, ça dérange l'enfant.
Prenons par exemple le cas d'un Camerounais qui reste chez soi à la maison et n'est pas informé. Subitement, il voit des personnes qui viennent disant qu'ils veulent vacciner ses enfants. Si l'État, par exemple, n'a pas pris la peine de sensibiliser les populations par rapport à cette vaccination, ce n'est que normal qu'un parent ait peur de ça.
Les autorités sanitaires du pays, depuis des années, organisent des campagnes de vaccination coordonnées à l'échelle du pays sur les différentes maladies pour limiter la propagation de certaines maladies.
Et la vaccination est l'administration d'un agent pathogène atténué, désactivé ou dilué à un organisme vivant afin de stimuler son système immunitaire pour lui procurer une immunité afin qu'il soit immunisé contre une quelconque maladie ou une maladie visée. Chaque année, 4,5 millions de vies sont sauvées grâce à la vaccination.
Les parents sont responsables de la santé et du bien-être de leurs enfants, y compris leur protection contre les maladies évitables par la vaccination. Les spécialistes de la santé exhortent de faire administrer les vaccins systématiques aux enfants, sinon ces derniers encourent des risques.
Ne pas vacciner son enfant, c'est l'exposer et exposer son intégrité physique et sa santé à des lésions réversibles et parfois la mort. Les oreillons donnent des surdité définitives et irréversibles.
Le monde entier célèbre depuis ce 24 avril la semaine africaine de la vaccination pour inciter les uns et les autres à se faire vacciner. Une idée peut-être pas encore ancrée dans les mœurs des Camerounais qui, depuis l'avènement du vaccin Covid-19, restent réfractaires à tout type de vaccin, même si cela leur garantit la santé.
La situation actuelle du paludisme dans le monde et en Afrique subsaharienne en particulier sonne comme une alarme selon le rapport de l'Organisation mondiale de la santé, OMS. 249 millions de personnes à l'échelle mondiale souffrent de paludisme et plus de 600 000 décès ont été enregistrés entre 2022 et 2023. Le paludisme sévit au moins dans 85 pays dans le monde, à l'instar du Nigeria, la RDC, l'Ouganda, le Cameroun et l'Inde. La plupart de ces pays situés en zone tropicale. L'Afrique connaît à ce jour le nombre le plus élevé de cas de décès, soit environ 95%. Même si les moyens de prévention de la maladie sont connus,
mettre des moustiquaires, pulvériser des insecticides et donner des médicaments aux enfants pour tuer le parasite du paludisme durant le pic de la saison de transmission.
L'OMS reste convaincue que le vaccin reste le meilleur moyen de prévention du paludisme.
Le vaccin a permis de réduire de 75% les cas symptomatiques de paludisme dans les 12 mois suivant l'administration de 3 doses. Une 4e, administrée 1 an après la 3e, s'est avérée maintenir la protection.
Les vaccins homologués par l'OMS présente de nombreux avantages et un espoir pour éradiquer la maladie.
Ces 2 dernières années, l'OMS a recommandé l'utilisation des 2 premiers vaccins antipaludiques qui sont à présent déployés en Afrique et qui pourraient sauver des dizaines de milliers de jeunes vies chaque année.
Malgré les efforts des pays endémiques et des acteurs internationaux, les taux d'incidence et de mortalité restent très élevés. D'où la nécessité d'investir davantage dans les programmes de lutte contre le paludisme, renforcer les systèmes de santé et garantir un accès équitable aux outils de prévention et de traitement de paludisme pour atteindre l'objectif 0 de paludisme.
Au Cameroun, le paludisme est la principale cause de mortalité, responsable d'environ 7,9% de cas enregistrés dans les formations sanitaires, soit 23 979 décès, toutes causes confondues. 1756 décès sont dus au paludisme dans le pays. Toujours dans les formations sanitaires, l'on enregistre 1 953 401 cas de paludisme simple, parmi lesquels 1 412 882 cas ont été traités avec les ACT et constituent également la première cause de consultation médicale d'environ 28% et 47,9% d'hospitalisation pour 2,9 millions de cas diagnostiqués. Selon les chiffres du Programme national de lutte contre le paludisme, coordonné avec le ministère de la Santé publique et l'Organisation mondiale de la santé OMS, 4 850 510 cas suspects de paludisme ont été recensés, parmi lesquels 4 657 179 cas testés avec un taux de confirmation de 96%. Toujours pendant la même année 2023, l'on enregistre 1 24 353 cas classés, cas graves, parmi lesquels 32% sont des enfants de moins de 5 ans et les femmes enceintes, qui représentent les groupes les plus vulnérables face à cette maladie, considérée aujourd'hui comme une urgence de santé publique. Le pays est classé 9e au niveau mondial et 3e au niveau africain sur les 11 pays les plus touchés par cette maladie. Sur les régions touchées par le paludisme, la région de l'Adamawa vient en tête de liste avec 18,9%, suivie de celle de l'extrême nord avec 13,6% et du nord 13,2%. Et celle ayant le plus de décès, l'Adamawa avec 14,2%, l'extrême nord 10,3% et l'est 10,2%. À noter que depuis les décennies, le nombre de morts du paludisme n'a jamais été aussi bas qu'en 2023. L'on observe également une baisse des morts. Sur la période de 2019-2023, le taux de mortalité lié au paludisme pour 1000 habitants exposés au paludisme a baissé de 64%, passant de 17,7% à 6,3%. Malgré une situation un peu réalisante, les autorités camerounaises ne baissent pas les bras. Le Cameroun a introduit le 22 janvier dernier dans son programme élargi de vaccination le vaccin RTSS pour lutter contre le paludisme. Même si certains sont réfractaires à ce vaccin, les autorités sanitaires du pays rassurent qu'il est fiable à plus de 90%. Mais une seule question demeure, où en est-on avec la distribution massive des moustiquaires imprégnés, vu que certaines régions, comme celle du centre, du sud et autres, n'ont pas reçu de moustiquaires depuis des lustres.
Now, welcome back. As you heard at the very beginning of this program, I was telling you that we're going to be talking about life skills, or we'll have a discussion about life skills and how they could help manage sexual reproduction problems in young people. And to do so, we have a young pair with us. They are going to be educating us on what to do and what not to do in order to avoid issues such as unwanted pregnancies, issues such as STDs, but also abortions in young people. The first of them is on my left, ladies before gentlemen, of course, and her name is Egbert Doris. Good afternoon or good morning and welcome to our program.
Good morning, thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Very well. On my right hand side, we have a guy. His name is Lenny Stephen. Good afternoon or good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you.
So now, I noticed that you are a very young pair. What motivated you to get involved in these kind of discussions? I would like to start with the lady.
First of all, thank you so much once more for the opportunity. When you look at the sexual reproductive health issues young people face, especially in Cameroon, you realize that it's due to limited knowledge. You get it. When I talk about the sexual reproductive health issues, I'm talking about the high rate of unintended pregnancy, the rate of HIV, abortions. You remember, abortion is not legalized in Cameroon, and so young people use the archaic method, they use the quack method and this may lead to maternal death and obstetric complication. And so when we look at these challenges as a young person, I realize that it's very important for us to step in with the knowledge that we have had to be able to share with those that do not have this knowledge. And by so doing, of course, we know we can help to solve some of the health issues, especially the sexual reproductive health.
What about you, Lenny Stephen? What motivated you to get involved in issues pertaining to life skill?
As a young person going through life every day in the community, at school, you encounter a lot of problems. You encounter your mate going through a lot of situations. I has been able to gain knowledge on life skills and comprehensive sexuality education. I feel it's my role and my responsibility to be able to sensitize my peers.
But how much have you been through to be able to teach others? How much issues have you been through at your tender age, if I could say so, to be able to want to school others?
These issues, they might not have happened to me. Relating to other people, I've had a lot of classmates who have been through young teenage unintended pregnancies. They have been through unsafe abortions. Some of them wounded up dead, some of them wounded up complications. Having all this knowledge, I've received knowledge on comprehensive sexuality education. I was there firsthand and I witnessed the experiences they went through, how it affected their school life, how it affected their social life, and even their mental health. With all this information at my possession and solutions I can provide to them through comprehensive sexuality education, that's what I feel is my role, to be able to sensitize my peers.
Well, now that's a beautiful intro into this topic. But then you work for a non-governmental organization, which is the Hope for Vulnerable Children's Association.
Yes.
Can you tell us in a few words what HOVOCA is?
HOVOCA is a non-governmental organization created since 2012, operating both in Cameroon and in the UK. In Cameroon, HOVOCA operates in 2 regions, 25 districts, and 34 communities. Since then, we have been able to reach 50,000 young children with different kinds of services. Since the year 2020, HOVOCA has been able to reach 4,975 people,
close to 5,000 people.
Yeah, exactly, close to 5,000 people through knowledge on comprehensive sexuality education. Most of these people were young girls, giving them knowledge and skills on how to make informed decisions on matters concerning their sexuality.
Very well. Now, away from comprehensive sexuality education, which is a little larger topic, now let's talk about these life skills. In a few minutes, can you tell us what the Youth for Voice Comprehensive Sexuality Education is all about, Doris?
Okay, the Youth Voices for Comprehensive Sexuality Education. Okay. It's a project that is funded by UNESCO and led by Y+ Global, Act Bumbano, and Frontline 8. As I earlier said, it's due to the challenges young people are facing in Tanzania, because this project is currently being implemented in Tanzania and Cameroon. So Youth Voices for Comprehensive Sexuality Education came in to increase the level of knowledge for young people on comprehensive sexuality education, and also it came in as to give them a helping hand to demand for comprehensive sexuality education, and also to fight against the opposition that is currently going on, because a lot of people are against comprehensive sexuality education.
All right, very well. Stephen, I'll come back to you. Would you mind sharing with us some of these issues that are being faced by young people nowadays?
One of the major issues faced by young people when it concerns their sexuality is limited access to contraception. This is due to high cost.
Limited?
Extremely limited access to contraception.
Okay.
When I mean contraception, I don't just talk about condoms, because even then, young people still face stigma in purchasing condoms and utilizing them. Equally, there's STIs and HIV and AIDS. This limited access to contraception exposes these young people who are always into a lot of sexual activities, exposes them to STIs such as gonorrhea, syphilis, and even HIV and AIDS. Still, due to this limited access to contraception, young people experience a lot of unwanted teenage pregnancies. 40% of pregnancies in Cameroon are unwanted, and 36% of these pregnancies end up in abortion.
How factual are those figures? 40% unwanted pregnancies?
Yes, they are very factual. I'm from the Ministry of Health. You can even find them online.
Very well.
Yes. So 36% of these unwanted pregnancies end up in abortion. These abortions sometimes result to death and even complications. Equally, there are early and teenage pregnancies. Early and child marriages, Early and child marriages still goes on a lot in many rural parts of Cameroon. This is because these people, they haven't received knowledge on comprehensive sexuality education, and they lack information on how detrimental these early and child marriages could be to the young people going into them and the future problems which may even cause them in pregnancies. Equally, we have gender-based violence. Gender-based violence still goes on everywhere in Cameroon. Gender-based violence is very rampant. This gender-based violence is very detrimental to the development of young people, especially the girl child, because it affects them both physically and mentally. Equally, the major problem we have here in Cameroon is lack of access to health services. In the rural parts of Cameroon, you rarely find hospitals are available. Even if the hospitals are there, they're not effective. They lack tools, they lack the personnel, they lack the people with required skills necessary to help provide these health services to these young people in the rural communities.
So now you've made like 5 points very clear, but do these points only affect young people? Because you've mentioned the unwanted pregnancies, which are about 40% in Cameroon. People my age and even older have pregnancies that are not wanted. People my age and even older have difficulties in getting contraceptives, are still stigmatized when they want to get to buying condoms and other methods of contraception. Why then the accent laid on the youth?
This is because
we are all victims.
This is because in Cameroon's demographic, we can see that 60% of the population is made up of young people. Young people ranging from below 35. So I'm going to permit myself to assume your age. I'm going to assume your age, but I'm not going to say it aloud. And I'm going to like to say you as well fall under the category of young people.
Okay.
When we say young people, we don't just mean teenagers from 18 or 20.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, very well. Now, Doris, I think I've left you behind a little, but then coming to you, what are some of these life skills and how can knowledge of these life skills help to address sexual reproductive health issues in young people?
Okay, thank you very much. Now, first of all, life skills, which are those positive composure that young people are supposed to put up in order to solve the sexual reproductive health issues that he just mentioned about. Now, we have several types of life skills. I'm just going to list some of the few important ones. We have the aspect of decision making and critical thinking. This is a skill where a lot of young people have limited knowledge about it. These are skills that are being learned. Now, you see, when someone does not know how to critically think, he will always make the wrong decision. And so that is the kind of challenge young people are facing in the society. Let's talk about the rampant pregnancies around. When a girl knows what is at stake, that if I get involved in any sexual activity, what is at stake is that I'll either get pregnant or I'm going to be HIV positive or STI. You get it? She will be able to know the kind of decision to make. So because they do not apply the critical thinking skill, they always fall victim of this challenge. Another aspect is negotiation and assertiveness. Negotiation skill is a very important skill for every young person. Whenever you find yourself in any situation, you should be able to negotiate. Negotiate for sex, negotiate for anything that is happening around you. You don't just have to be passive and let anybody tell you what to do, and you always fall a victim of that. And also, as I earlier said, we talk about assertiveness. Assertiveness is very, very important in young people. A lot of young Cameroonians are very passive, and so they always fall victims of the issues around them. Assertiveness simply means that being firm in your decision, saying something positively with confidence, and knowing what you're saying without necessarily violating another person's right, but standing for your right. So that is assertiveness. As I have mentioned, negotiation skills, I have mentioned critical thinking and decision-making skills. I've mentioned assertiveness. Yeah.
Very well. Now, if there is any advice that you're supposed to give a young person out there, will it be to apply these, or it will be for them to stay clear until marriage?
You know, we live in a world where young people are faced with so much peer pressure. You get it? We have young people who can actually practice abstinence until marriage, you get. But now, in this 21st century, with the level of peer pressure, majority, let me just say 90% of them will not want to abstain. And so it is very important for them to apply these skills. First of all, they need to build the skills in them, then they put them, to apply them in the field.
Very well. Besides coming on television to tell young people about these skills, what else at the level of your organization do you do in order for children or young people to have this information?
The Hope for Vulnerable Children Association has been doing a lot in the field. So far, we have been teaching in 9 schools in Yaoundé since 2021. Let me just say, altogether, it's like 17 schools, because in 2021, we taught in 5 schools. 2022, we taught in like 4 schools, and this year we have taught in 9 schools. So we have been giving young people the knowledge of comprehensive sexuality education as a whole. Remember, we just said life skill is just a component of comprehensive sexuality education. So that is the work VOCA has been doing.
Are these skills for free?
These skills are absolutely free.
So you learned them for free and you're giving them out for free?
Out for free, exactly.
Very well. Is there any last word you'd like to tell our viewers before we depart?
Well, firstly, I will advise everyone to try as much as possible to gain his own level of knowledge on comprehensive sexuality education, especially the young people. Today we're talking about life skills. She listed the most important life skills for us to have earlier. And secondly, I would like to speak out to the parents. Parents, it's also important for you to provide your children with life skills at home before they're leaving the home to go gain those life skills out there. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything to add?
Of course, I have something to add. Thank you very much. Now, life skill is, comprehensive sexuality education is a subject on its own. Just like we have biology, chemistry, and any other subject. Young people need this knowledge, just like they need any other subject. And so that's why we are calling on the state. They have a role to play to implement CSE as a subject in school. Because when this is brought as a subject in school, every young person, because the school is a very large platform, every young person will have the opportunity to properly learn comprehensive sexuality education. And by so doing, of course, the sexual reproductive health issues that young people are facing in Cameroon is going to reduce.
Thank you very much. Right behind, ladies and gents, let's meet Valerie Naisumba. She comes back with the health tips that marked this week.
La date est une lésion bénigne qui touche particulièrement les peaux sèches et sensibles, ce qui explique sa fréquence chez les enfants et les personnes du 3e âge. Des solutions naturelles existent pour soigner cette affection de la peau. Le gel d'aloe vera, connu pour ses vertus hydratantes, mais aussi anti-infectieuses, apaisantes et cicatrisantes. Il peut être appliqué sur les zones squameuses. Le beurre de karité, connu pour être nourrissant, il protège aussi la peau car riche en vitamine A, donc aide la peau à retrouver son élasticité. Il suffit de faire fondre un petit morceau au creux de la paume, puis appliquer les zones infectées en léger massage circulaire. Le citron, c'est indispensable qu'on ne présente plus. Le jus de citron aide à réduire l'inflammation et éliminer les bactéries responsables de la date. Vous pouvez appliquer du jus de citron frais directement sur la peau ou le diluer dans de l'eau avant de l'appliquer. Une macération de feuilles de chou peut s'avérer également nécessaire pour combattre la date. Il suffit de trier les feuilles de chou en les débarrassant de leurs nervures les plus grosses, mettre ensuite dans un saladier rempli d'eau, laisser macérer pendant plusieurs heures, puis appliquer le résultat sur les zones à traiter. Pour éviter de développer à nouveau des dates et d'autres problèmes de peau après le traitement, il serait judicieux de mettre en place des soins, notamment se laver avec un produit si gras, du savon si possible. Pensez à bien se rincer après une baignade en mer ou à la piscine. Évitez de s'exposer au soleil ou au froid très longtemps sans protéger votre peau. Mangez du poisson gras au moins 2 fois par semaine. Ne surtout pas oublier de consulter l'avis d'un professionnel de la santé qui pourra mieux vous conseiller et vous proposer des méthodes médicamenteuses adaptées pour combattre la date. Voilà qui met fin à notre astuce cette semaine. Prenons rendez-vous la semaine prochaine pour une nouvelle astuce.
Valerie, I am hoping to try your tips sometime during the week if time permits. Now, it is on this note, ladies and gents, that we draw curtains on today's edition of Health Update on the African Television. Do not forget to follow us on our various social media handles, notably on Facebook at Health Update Visionka Television, but equally on YouTube at Diana Joyce Ngwang. Until next week, do well to stay glued to the rest of the programs of the African Television. Have a beautiful start of the week. Good morning from Yaoundé.